Hey guys, enter the stars. Sorry to keep you waiting. It was a crazy day today, working on a couple projects. Kind of lost track of the time, but I'm glad to be with you guys today. Um, the reason why I did this live show, that I want to do this live show today, is because I wanted to talk a little bit about the act of fasting. Now, as as you guys know, I did like a recent fast for about 3 days. Now, there are some religions that'll fast for they work up to all the way like to like a month of fasting with you. It takes a long time to work up to that level of fasting. And so I started thinking about the act of fasting and who blazed the trail, so to speak, for fasting. And that was, of course, Jesus Christ. Now, there are other religions that fast as well, but when I think of the example that I want to follow, that is the person that I want to follow his example, and that's Jesus Christ. So let's check the sound. Can you guys hear me? Let's see here. See Twisted Dame, Sandra Lee, Elias is in the house. Lola Fabiola, Saving Humanity, Victoria, Always Hope. Just want to do a quick sound check before we continue on here, you guys. All right, cool. All right, so let's take a look at this rabbit trail and how all of this transpired. Let's go look in the Bible. Let's start there. Now, last night was the Passover, Nissan 14. I attended that with my mom. Told myself I'd never step foot in another church again, but I did go and to the Jehovah's Witness version of the Passover. And as I was there, I did realize that, I guess the spirit of it, right? If you know why you were there, doesn't matter what the people are doing around you, but in their doctrine, not all people are supposed to partake of the bread and the wine. They only believe that 144,000 are supposed to partake of the bread and the wine at the Passover. And I just don't agree with that. But out of respect, I did not partake of the bread and the wine because half of the sermon was about how you're not supposed to partake of the bread of the wine unless you're absolutely sure you're one of these elect people, right? So I believe all of us who preach the word of God are Christ's disciples. And he instructed all of us to keep doing this in remembrance of him. So therefore, I believe that you are supposed to partake of the bread and the wine. I mean, that's the whole point behind it, right? So I started thinking about fasting and what all that meant. Let's go into the search here and look up Jesus fasting. Now, this show will probably most likely blow your mind just because we're going to look at some things that most people are not aware of and do not consider looking at fasting in the Bible and stuff like that, right? And so we're going to get into some deep Bible truths tonight. And this is stuff, like I said, that you've probably never actually considered before. So, as we know, Jesus was in the wilderness. Let's go into Matthew 4, 1 through 11. And as you know, he was there for 40 days and 40 nights. It says right here. Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus says, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand in the highest point of the temple. And he said, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Third test, the devil took him to a high mountain and showed him the kingdoms of the world, their splendor. He says, "I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." He said, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." And the devil left him, and the angels came and attended. Now, many of you have heard this verse, this chapter 1,000 times. The way we're going to look at it tonight is, like I said, going to blow your mind. 40 days and 40 nights. These are the key words. 40 days and 40 nights. Now, I want you to think for a second about what happens when a child is in the womb. That child is essentially fasting. Yes, that child is fasting. What do I mean? Well, the child is on a liquid diet, or actually oxygenated blood coming through the placenta. There is no real food entering that child. And when we look at the 40 days and 40 nights that Christ was in the wilderness, not eating, just like a child in the womb, we can now compare that to the human child. Station, human child. Let's look at Wikipedia. And this is where things get amazing, because a child is also in the womb for 40 weeks. Let's go to Wiki. So here it is, pregnancy. And as you can see here, the length of pregnancy is 40 weeks after the last menstruation. In other words, after the last period or menstrual cycle that a woman had, it is 40 weeks. Let's let this populate. Okay, so Casey, you found a synchronicity. So what does that mean? Just because a woman's, the child is in the womb for 40 weeks and is essentially fasting, okay, and Jesus was in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, what exactly does that mean? Well, I'm going to go a step further. So I just want to show you that the duration of pregnancy is 40 weeks after the last menstrual cycle. Okay, this is a known fact. This isn't me stretching something. Okay, so let's go on to the next point here. Let's tie all this together. How long will the Israelites in the wilderness? Israelites, wilderness. I could spell tonight. Says here, they were in the wilderness for 40 years. Now, we're starting to develop a pattern. They were wandering through the wilderness for 40 years. So now we have 3 synchronicities with the number 40. Something passing through a dark place, a wilderness, fasting. Remember, the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. And they were basically starving. What did God give them? He gave them manna, right? So now we have 2 synchronicities. Are you ready for the third one? This is where things get interesting. Because not only were the Israelites in the wilderness for 40 years, Jesus was fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, and a child is in the womb for 40 weeks. We also had Noah. And it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Again, through the waters, right? Through the flood waters. He's starting to put all this together. A remnant, a seed. Israelites were a seed. Jesus was a seed. Noah and the 8 or the 7 were a seed, a remnant, passing through a watery wilderness, a dark place, a womb. They called it a wilderness in Jesus' case and in the Israelites' case. But remember, the Israelites also passed through the Red Sea. Remember, when they were delivered from Egypt, they went through a narrow gate as well. All right. And the ark was long and narrow. It represented a narrow gate. And so now you're starting to see all these synchronicities, and these are things that people, these religious churches and doctrines, they don't look into this stuff. They don't see these synchronicities. So let's take this a step further, because now we have the hyaloid canal. And of course, this also represents a narrow gate, an escape. Okay, this is it here. This is the womb in here with all this fluid inside the eye. It's also the wilderness. And inside this area here, this represents the Red Sea and the parting of the Red Sea. Passing through, what you're looking at here is the Red Sea and the crossing of the Red Sea by the remnant. And there are specks left over in here after you were born. They're called floaters. And it's basically a remnant, they actually call it that, that's left over from the hyaloid artery that once passed through this silver cord that used to nourish this lens here. Okay, there used to be a veil around this, a vasculature, and that nourished the lens and developed it until the fetus was born into this world. And so, to me, this is just unbelievable, because we now have is what it amounts to like a Russian dolls kind of scenario here, where the Bible is repeating these themes over and over again. And it's up to us to like admit that they're there, see the pattern, see the watery pattern. And this is why Jesus says when you're born again, because you're actually, this is all about the womb. And this is why there's baptism. This is why you're immersed in water. This is the waters. Okay? You become immersed in the waters because you're born again. It's all about the womb. You see? But what's happened is we've been given these paradigms that we just believe, and instead of thinking for ourselves, and then we never get the full power of the truth when it comes to this stuff. Checking with you guys and making sure that you guys are still connected. So what else is going on here? Well, at 40 millimeters, this goes on. This vasculature that goes through the hyaloid canal begins to degrade when the fetus is 40 millimeters. Let's look that up, see if I can find it. Continues 40 millimeters. Fetus. Oh, wait, let's see if that gives us what we're looking for here. So I just thought I would do kind of a recap. Here we go. Hyaloid vessels of the fetal eye. Okay, so I show it here. And again, you're going to see this 40 number popping up. It says it invades the optic cup at the 55 millimeter stage and gives rise to branches that increase in complexity that almost fills the interior of the optic cup at 40 millimeters stage. Begins to atrophy soon after reaching full maturity. So at this 40 millimeter stage, it begins to degrade this vasculature. Okay, and it's actually called, let me show it to you. Where is it? It's called like a veil, and it covers, let's see here, hyaloid vasculature. There it is. So you get this veil, and it covers the entire lens. And then at 40 millimeters, when the fetus is 40 millimeters, it begins to degrade. And then when the fetus is born, it's gone. All you see is that thin canal that we saw with some floaters in it, possibly. So now we know what the speck in the eye is. right? The speck is the remnant left over. This is the seed of God. These are the people that have already started to find the narrow gate back to heaven, the kingdom of heaven within. See specks floating around in here, represented by Noah and his remnant. Jesus, the seed of mankind that would save the world, representing a remnant. And also the Israelites were a remnant of people. Okay, they were basically God's chosen people, right? So we have this theme repeating over and over again, which is pretty amazing. So what else do we have here? So this might be something I might try. Try to maybe fast for 40 days and 40 nights. I mean, that would be pretty amazing. That would take a lot of discipline to do that. You definitely have to work up to it. All right, guys, I'm in the chat here. You guys have any questions? Now, I do know that someone was telling me about being a rabbi and something about 40 years old or something like that, also mentioned in the Bible. And there's other 40 synchronicities out there. So when people ask me how old Jesus was when he died, I had put together some evidence believing that possibly he was 40 years old when he died, because everything seemed to be pointing towards that, with everything we just reviewed right now. It's simply fascinating. Now, we've talked over and over about the umbilical cord being like this canal here, and the child in the womb being an analogy of this inner eye area. And so we won't go in too much more into that. But I'm wondering what else all this could mean, like what the Bible said about how he was tested. I mean, are there any other clues in here? Like maybe this bread and stones maybe represents the lens of the eye, Who knows? And then throwing himself down from the high mountain could represent like the rope, right? The hyaloid canal, the thin line, the narrow gate. And then the kingdoms of the world, because Satan rules this world, so he has power over it. So you kind of get these analogous themes that seem to mimic also the parts of the eye within the inner eye. So that's kind of weird too. So I don't know. Pretty amazing stuff, you guys. All right, I'm in the chat. Let's talk to you guys for a little while. Paul Panda, Fahid. Thanks, Fahid. There's Kamiko, William Jean. Paul Panda. And you guys out there get that Alice in Wonderland syndrome when you were younger? You felt like a giant in a room and everything looked really far away? Thanks, Silly Rose Russo. Glad to have you here tonight. Identify This, Janet, Presley Lives, Margita, Marianne, Mosquito Punk's in the house, Big Brummy Dave, Swarina. All right, I'm going to read what you guys are typing in here. Yeah, you can fast in all kinds of different ways, William Jean. Exactly. Fast from the internet, you can fast from sex, you can fast from a lot of different things. Margita happened to once, Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Yeah, I remember being a kid and no one really knew what it was. And the doctors didn't know. We had good insurance at that time. My mom was a state worker, so we had Kaiser and go to the doctor whenever we wanted. And they didn't know what it was. Yeah, it felt like a tunnel. Yes. Oh, Janet's had it too. Yeah, and you feel like everything's echoing. Thanks, Bob. Well, you guys, I have some really good news that I'm going to be breaking within the next week or two about some changes in my life. And I want to share it with all of you first. Kind of in the final stages of the details of it. But oh, Charlie Murphy died today. Oh my gosh! Wow. Whoa. Let me take a look at that. Um, Charlie Murphy. That's weird. Let's take a look. Remember the Dave Chappelle skit that he did with Rick James? I mean, I know that's kind of bizarre, but I would just laugh at that. That was really funny, you know? But, all right, let's take a look at this. What's going on with this? Maybe we can decode this real quick. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to be making some changes in my life. I'm making a move I'm really excited about. It's a dream that I've had for a very long time. And it's only been possible through one of you guys, a subscriber who's been coming to this channel for almost a year, brother in Christ. And we've got an arrangement, and I'm going to be making a move, early new setting for this channel. And the only way this was able to happen is because of the love of us brothers and sisters have for each other. Okay. I know many times we want to believe that he who makes the most money at the end of the day gets the prize. But believe it or not, God has a special place for all of us. He has joy, peace, and love, and all of our wildest dreams, if we just believe and if we just keep doing the right thing by him. And he can open up doors that you never thought would open up. And in this instance, a door opened, and I'm going to walk through it. And this has been something I've been dreaming about my entire life. And so I'm going to walk through the door. And so I'm really excited to be able to update you guys pretty soon on, I pretty much want to wait till I get there. Okay. And probably the first video I do will be a video of me there. And the whole face of this channel is going to change. So if you're out there and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you're in for an entirely new experience on this channel. And Paul Penn, I'm Rick James. Yeah, that's pretty bizarre. Let's take a look at Charlie Murphy. Let's do a 712. He died on. Gosh, he looks so much like Eddie Murphy, doesn't he? It's his brother, but man, they look so much alike. Let's see here. All right, April 12th. Let's pull up April 12th. Let's look at this date and see if we can't see what's going on here. Hold on just a second, you guys. All right. Bless my mom's heart. She, I think she wanted to make me feel at home over here. So she brought a bunch of stuff from my room. Bless her heart. Bought a dresser, a bed, and I said, Mom, I'm just not into the material stuff, I don't need my clothes in a dresser. I'm just fine with my suitcase, Tempur-Pedic mattresses go a long way. I just throw it on the floor. I don't need like a physical bed. I don't need any of that. But you know how it is, parents love you and they want the best for you. And in their matrix world, they believe in the material, right? So they think the more things and accommodations and all that you have, the better off you're going to be. But to me, those things represent stress. And my awesome mom, I love her so much, bought a dresser online, arrived at the house today, spent the last 2 hours putting together this dresser. And I was like right back in the matrix again. I was like, you got to be kidding me. thing probably had 1,000 parts to it. You know, screws, bolts, rails, glue. I'm like, people actually do this? I'd rather like decode something than put together a pressed wood dresser. So the dresser got put together, and right, so you can understand the frustration. I hate to even be talking about this because I sound like an ingrate, an unthankful ingrate, but it just reminds me of how less is more for me. I don't know how to explain it, but I just get so much more out of life with just the clothes on my back, my guitar, my car. That's all I need. And my computer, of course, so I can connect with all of you guys. So let's get back to Charlie Murphy. Sorry for some of you that came in a little bit later. I pretty much already covered the fasting. And then we compared that to the child in the womb, because that's what it is. That's why Jesus tells us to get baptized, because you're going back in the womb. It's shocking to me that more religions don't cover this stuff. All right, let's take a look at Charlie Murphy. So we got April 12th. Let's take a look. It's 102nd day of the year with 263 remaining. 122nd with 263 remaining. Let's look at the anti-date of this. It's the 263rd day of the year. Is September 20th. 9/20. Let's see what day of the year that was. This is how I do my decodes, you guys, for birthday. Some of you were asking. She's born on July 12th. Now, not everything's a sacrifice, but I will tell you this. I've done enough birthday decodes where I'm just like, I get chills because the numbers just line up almost every single time. So we're checking him. 2 days remaining until the end of the year after his birth, and 193rd day of the year. Let's blow this up here. 193. Huh. July 12th. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a 12 there. There's your 93rd. But it's upside down, right? Because 6 is 9. We've talked about that before. So, wow. Charlie Murphy. How old did he live to be? 57. Is that when Prince died? Prince died at 57 too, didn't he? 4/12. How did he die? You guys probably already know all this, right? Leukemia. Wow. Slow, painful death. Well, interesting. Maybe I'll dig deeper into this. Maybe clues. Maybe in some of these films he starred in. Or maybe not. Let's see here. What's his last film? Meet the Blacks. It's just a television video. Meet the Blacks. See what's that? Key Flow. I used to love these, as you guys know, I'm a black guy. I used to love these films. That was, April 1st. April Fools last year. 93 minutes long. Uh-oh. Ooh. Okay, so the film's 93 minutes long. His last film that he starred in. He was born on 193rd day of the year. That's bizarre. So that's the day he was born. But let's see if there's anything going on with the day that he died. What did we say that was? 12th. Why's my computer so slow? Now, sometimes the last work or the last film some of these stars were in sometimes can hint to the day they're going to die. So there's the 263. So that's what it was. So 63, 93, 6 is 9, right? And his last film was 93 minutes long. So interesting. You guys seeing how this works here? So Meet the Blacks. Maybe there's other clues in the film. I probably have to actually watch the film to see if there was any 63s mentioned, or April 12th, 4/12. Meet the Blacks. Okay, let's look through the plot here. The final film to star Charlie Murphy, so they mention him. Carl Black and his family are getting out of Chicago after having stole a lot of money from a famed criminal drug king, Key Flo. Charlie Murphy. He was Key Flo, believing that he would be in prison for the next 5 to 6 years. Carl Black, Mike Epps leaves the hustling lifestyle behind for something better. Nina, son Carl Jr., daughter Allie Black, and cousin Cronut pack up and move to Beverly Hills. Turns out Carl couldn't have picked a worse time to move. They arrive around the time of the annual purge, and all Carl's personal issues intertwine while all crime is legal for 12 hours. Interesting. So April 1st, 2016. Let's do it. 4-1. Let's do this. April 1st, 2016. Let's go ahead and look at the calendar. Fools. Now, you never know what you're going to find with this stuff. This is kind of my little rabbit hole thing that I go through. I check all this stuff out. So 4/1/2016. And he died on 4/16? The 12th, 2017. 76 days. 1 year, 11 days. One year, 11 days. It's not really syncing up with anything. One year, 11 days. Interesting. Now, wow, this made $9 million at the box office. Only cost about $1 million to make. Seemed like it was a pretty popular film. Oh, wait a minute. Got a rating of 2.2 out of 10. Interesting. All right, this is what we're going to do now. Oh, whoa, it's got the purge. Look at this. It's got the purge in here. Look at this. See this mask here? That's wild. Let's take a look at this. So it's basically it's like a knockoff of the purge. It's like a black version of the purge. Okay, look at how this guy's in the background. Purge the pig. Meet the Blacks. Interesting. Got a double standard in this country. With comedy, it's like everything. I mean, if white people ran around joking about how white they were, that would probably be like racism, right? But as black people, we seem to be able to get away with that. And I've heard all the excuses, you know. I've heard, well, but I don't submit to that, you guys. It's division. All right, let's keep going with this. Let's go here. Meet the Blacks. Let's look at the script. Meet the Blacks. Get the script out there. And here we go. All right, here's the script. I wonder if he dies in the film. You just really never know until you actually watch the film, right? Let's type in here April. We're doing investigative. No, April shows up. Let's do 90. Nope. Do Ed. Are you scared? I thought you was the night of the Walking Dead. I'm the living dead. The Walking Dead are zombies. I did. Kind of hard to see who's saying this unless we watch the movie. You know, I'd be on here like all day with you guys, just watching and decoding films if it was legal, but it's not. We'd have so much fun. We just watch films together live. I suppose I could try it. I get a strike. I can do one strike and get away with it. That might not be bad. It might be fun just to try it one of these times, right? Just have some fun with it. Why not? So this is kind of weird. You got the 4-1, 4-1. This is the date of the movie release, and this is the date he died. I wouldn't call that a match, though. All right. So I'm sure things will come out in the coming days, the conspiracies behind how he might have been some kind of sacrifice. I won't go as far as to say that, but the number of synchronicities when people come into this world and when they die is pretty crazy, right? It's just pretty crazy. So the day he was born seemed to kind of encode the date of his death, 93rd day of the year. He died on the 263rd day of the year with 102 remaining. Let's see here, 293. Yeah, pretty crazy. And like even the 17, that could be like 2017, right? So like all the digits are kind of accounted for. That's spooky. So, okay, let's do this. July 12. This is the anti-date, 9/20. Let's do this. 263. Twelfth. So this is the day he died, 102nd day with 263 remaining. This day he was born. Let's look at the digits here. 26312. 2631. So the only thing that's missing is the 2. So, and then here's the 2017. That's just weird. So, let's go back to you guys, see what's going on, see if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. I might watch this film. Gosh, these films are just so painful to watch. You know, it's like, let's see. Key Flow, Charlie Murphy. Plays Key Flow. Key Flow. All right, let's back in here with you guys. Cool. Yeah, so new chapter in my life. Can't wait to share it with you guys, and I don't want to tell you prematurely because it's still in the final stages of kind of locking everything down. And when I do let you guys know, you're going to be like shocked. You're going to be shocked. This is the last thing that you think I would do with my life. And so, really excited about it. Okay, let me read your chat here. We're checking out Charlie Death, who died today at 57. Oh, that's what Margie is saying. Okay, you know what we could do too? Let's see exactly how long he lived. Charlie Murphy. That sometimes gives us clues too. 7/12/59. Wait a minute. So this was okay. 7/12/59. Gosh, he looks so much like he looks like a skinnier version of Eddie Murphy, right? 7/12/59. 4/12/2017. 57 years, 9 months, exactly. Well, look at this. 5,779.18% of a common year. So there's your 57 years old right there. Pretty weird. For those of you that understand these calendar conversions, you understand that this number doesn't necessarily have to match this number. That's weird. Thanks, Stephanie. Okay, so that's, yeah, so it's kind of weird that this 57 kind of matches up here. 21,194 days. Yeah, so right on. Meet the Blacks. Gosh, I want to watch this so bad. So I can decode it for you. See if there's anything in this movie cover. Mike Tyson's in this? The heck? George Lopez. So let's go here. Let's do this. Meet the Blacks. Whoa, creepy. Guess if there's any with him on the cover. Is this him here? No, that's somebody else. That's Mike Epps. Where is he? He's not even in this image here. Charlie. Oh, there he is right here. Whoa, look at that. Ooh, I know what we could do. Let's look up his character, which was Key Flow. Key Flow. Kind of a dark looking character, wasn't he? Look at this. Like he's like the evil guy. Meet the Blacks. Wish I could see what his dialogue was, which, you know, like what he was saying in the film. It might help us. Maybe I'll check it out and get back to you guys. So he's like the bad guy. He's a famed criminal drug king. Key Flow. Anyway, that's that, you guys. Let's do this. Got this rainbow hoodie on. Whoa. Got a weird slant to this one. All right. All right, let's take a look here. I hope you're not. Oh, Victoria saw it. Yeah, I'd like to see what that's about. Man. Did he die in it? He was the drug dealer. Did he die, Green Man? Was he killed? Was there like a shootout or something like that? If it was a sacrifice, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put it in the script. See? Let's see. Green Man does not remember. Oh, no camper van yet. Presley lives. What I did is I installed like a platform in the back of my car. Where I'm going, I'm not going to be able to bring my car with me, so it's going to stay here. And basically, I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to leave it here. But what I anticipated on doing was, camping. That was the thing. And then after digging deeper and seeing how campers are treated in California, and I didn't really want to camp out of state. I didn't really want to go on the road to that extent in the beginning. Kind of thought there were going to be lots of places to kind of camp here in California, and there are, but you're basically seen as a homeless person. That's how you're treated when you're at these campsites, these free campsites in these national forests. They're heavily policed. You have fish and game, you have rangers, and they basically will run all of your numbers. They want to make sure you've got registration, no warrants, and it's just basically you're getting harassed. No, Margita, not getting married. No, 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 no. No. Sophie asks if there's any interaction, real conversation going on this channel right now. If so, what's the secret to join the club? Seems many are fakes yet again. On this channel right now, any interaction? Please extrapolate, Sophia. All right, we have some people. Yeah, go on. If there's other stuff you guys want to take a look at, you're welcome to leave this. We're just hanging out. This is the hangout. If it's not your thing, you can change the channel, right? I think so much of these live shows too is all of you guys getting together and having a good time. Because you guys, that's why I love you so much. You don't think you're too good for anybody, and we all hang out and talk with each other. You guys talk as much to each other as you do to me, so that's the fun part of all this. Casey's coming to Kentucky with me in June. Yeah. Yeah, I just drove for 3 days. 3 days from Texas, and that was wild. I think God must have been with me because I barely made it. I mean, it was crazy. The last day when I was coming over, actually, that was the second day, coming up over Flagstaff, it was snowing. It was snowing, and I had no chains. But I had four-wheel drive. I didn't have it in four-wheel drive, but I had four-wheel drive if I needed it. And snow is weird because when snow hits your windshield, it doesn't do what rain does. Snow, it's almost like you're driving through a bunch of styrofoam. That's the best way I can describe it. It bounces off your windshield, and you can see as long as it's not snowing too hard. So this was like some flurries, and so that was a pretty amazing experience coming up over the Flagstaff Pass. But before that, there was some pretty heavy rain. A lot of the highways was washed out. A lot of the bridges. They had some detours, and so yeah, not going to be doing any road trips soon. So that's not it. This is a complete change of everything. Everything you've known this channel will be is going to change. So yeah. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks for coming out. Sorry we didn't meet your expectations on this live show. You're welcome to step out. Hope you come back. That'd be cool. No, it's not about really going underground. There's a certain component to that. But you guys, I mean, you can't really escape this stuff. It's going to be all around us. And, but I'll be honest with you, part of it has to do a little bit with that. I mean, there's judgment coming to America. You can't get away with being the world's police. Since the founding of this country, basically, first we carved out our republic on the blood of slaves and Native Americans, carved out the land. Then the banks and the government then started to confiscate that land. They needed the settlers and pioneers to basically settle the land. And as soon as it was settled, they went through and confiscated it back. I mean, this is the truth, you guys. very few people are able to look at the big picture when it comes to history. We want to see it through rose-colored glasses. We want to see it through the eyes of our history books. Make no mistake, it's not as pretty as we want to believe. And people say, well, what's up with that? Like, why would I be mad about that? Or why, this is your country. Shouldn't you be proud of your country? I'm proud of you, proud of my friends. I'm proud of people that stand up and do the right thing, but I'm not proud of the leadership in this country. What just happened to us, you guys? We went through an election. And we went through this election and it was bad, I mean, there was infighting. And we had the president elected, and so many people were so sure that Trump was the answer to everything. No excuses for everything that's transpired in the first several months of this administration. There's just no excuse. People can try to paint it all they want, but all this is fuel from their ego because they can't admit they were wrong. Okay? I'm not the type that's going to sit here and try to rub it in and keep rubbing it in, but I will stand up and say when I was right. And I will stand up and say when everyone was wrong. I'm going to say that. Not because of my ego, but because this is about all of you guys. Okay? This is about your karma. When you stand up behind somebody, beat a drum and then demonize everyone else who has anything bad to say about someone, you own that now. You voted. You cast your vote. You own it. All the actions that take place, the death, the murder, you own it. Which is why I don't vote. I just won't do it. I'm not going to co-sign any of these elite murderers. I'm just not going to do it. And so that's where things stand with me. And I'm going to continue calling them out when I see them. Let's take a look here. "777, like drain the swamp and lock his cousin up." Exactly, Paul. Now, I know a lot of you made an honest mistake when you voted for Trump. I get that. I'm not talking about you. A lot of my dear brothers and sisters in Christ, said, we're going to give it a try. That's different because now you can admit that what he's doing, you're not blinded by your ego. Okay. You're like, okay, I was fooled again. Everyone gets fooled. I get fooled sometimes. But there are many people out there that are just standing by this guy. And it's like, what else can he do? And so that's where we're at with that. Got Liam X Mail. Just hanging out with you guys right now. I don't really have anything else to talk about other than things that you guys want to talk about. So you guys asked for some other clues. Gosh, what clues can I give you before I just spill the beans? I don't want to spill the beans all the way because, like I said, I'm kind of in the final stages, and the dear brother in Christ that is going to help make this happen. I haven't really talked to him about the extent of how much he wants people to know about this. So I'll talk to him tomorrow. And very humble guy, nice guy, great brother. And all I can say at this point is that, a lot of things are going to be changing for me. And I'm really excited about it. So, what else do we have here? Any other news you guys want to talk about? Yeah, Saving Humanity says I don't vote at all. Yeah, it's pointless. I mean, you just see what's going on here in California. All the crazy laws like mandatory vaccinations, gay marriage, Prop 64 about legalize marijuana, and how they're regulating that. Okay. And how, like, basically they were able to legalize it, but then with that came a price, which was, we're going to tax you for every single leaf grown. And the taxes that you pay are going to be paid in cash. You are not allowed to go through your bank account. It's all cash. It's just ridiculous, opening people up to crime, organized crime, and opening people up to getting robbed, their safety being compromised because they're growing a plant. Okay. Now, I'm not a pot smoker, but I can tell you this: the people that do smoke pot and believed in it and were growing the pot had no idea what they were in for with this new proposition here in California. I can tell you that right now. Sounds all glamorous and glorious to legalize pot, but when you really look at what that means or how the state defines legalization, you do not want it to be legal. You'd rather go back to the days of the bootlegging and illegal activity, because the way they've legalized it, they've basically taken away all the rights of the growers. They have helicopters flying over people's properties, monitoring your grow. Basically, you are become a ward of the state when you grow pot. That's what's going on right now in California. Just so you know. Basically, the big joke in California is whatever Californians vote for, just count on the opposite happening. The vote does not count. It's a big joke now. I mean, who would vote for mandatory vaccinations? Who would vote for gay marriage when only less than 2% of people are gay in this state? And the overwhelming majority said no to gay marriage. Like, who votes for that? Okay, this was before it was passed in the United States. So, Blessing Texas 7 says, we won't tell anyone. Yeah, I came to Texas. I was in Texas for a while. And there's a lot of you guys in Texas, so that's awesome. It's a shame that I didn't get to meet you guys. That would have been fun. I want to tell you so bad, but I'm gonna wait till I get there. And my very first video will be there, and it's gonna be a whole new vibe to the channel. That's all I can say. Whole new vibe to the channel. Whole new setting. Let's put it that way. Oh, 333D3. Yeah, you're from California. Prop 64 hasn't taken effect yet, but I think it passed. And it's all about taxation on growers. Now you can still, Casey Doggu just did a video. Oh, what did he do it on? Saving Humanity? Why did you leave Texas, Margita said. Things just didn't really work out for me there. What I thought I was walking into wasn't what I expected when I got there. Let's just put it that way. So I left. So back to Prop 64. Basically what happened was, along with the legalization came massive control and overstepping of boundaries and overstepping of privacy laws. And, I'll give you a little story. Of course, you guys understand that in California, the state law differs from the federal law. So the state law provides certain things that allow you to do certain things. But then that law conflicts with the federal law. So at any time, the feds can come in and enforce the federal law. And there'll be a lot of people in a lot of trouble. That was the state of affairs about 10 years ago. It's changed now. The laws seem to jive a little bit more now, but back then, that's how it was. Now, I lived on the Central Coast in a little town called San Luis Obispo, halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. And there were not many, but there were some primary healthcare providers that worked in clinics that were basically writing prescriptions for people who needed medical marijuana. They're writing these prescriptions, and they were charging people, I don't know, a couple $100 to get this card, right? This pot card, basically. So far so good, right? Wrong. What happened is the feds came in and they subpoenaed the list of patients that had come into this clinic. And I'm not going to say any specifics because I don't want to out the people that live in that area, right? The physician then turned over those records to the feds, and now they had a list of people that they could go to raid houses. And that's what they did. And it was a big deal on Central Coast. They're like, I don't know if it was the feds or the local sheriff. The local sheriff was about to leave. New sheriff was elected or whatever. And he wanted to make his mark, right? He went through and raided all these homes. They started finding patterns in some of these prescriptions. Basically, they worked the evidence backwards and were able to find where a lot of this pot was being dispensed from and distributed from by going to this doctor and having her records subpoenaed. In particular was raided. The dog was shot and killed. The kids were taken into custody. Now they got their kids back, but imagine the horror. You're doing something you think is legal in the state of California, but then a sheriff decides to use federal law and basically invade your rights. Okay. Now again, let me clarify this. I'm not a pot smoker. To be honest with you, I don't really endorse the use of it unless it's in crazy circumstances, like you're going to die or you've got cancer. I'm not sure about CBD oil. I'm kind of on the fence with a lot of this, but me personally, I don't smoke pot. I don't really enjoy it. I don't like it. But I'm just speaking objectively in terms of what's going on in California. Okay. I don't think these people should be criminalized for doing something to their own bodies. And so that's where I stand with that. And I just see this whole legalization process as a giant psyop. And yeah, it sounds great to have something legal that you want to use, but look at the price you pay. Look what comes with it. Heavy taxation. You got corporations coming in here, buying up all these small farmers. Okay, so now you have corporations basically running the pot farms. Heavy taxation to the point where only a corporation would be able to invest and withstand and sustain those taxes, where some of the smaller growers just get taxed right out of business because they don't have the financial backing. And so now they're bought up by these large corporations who see it as an investment for the future, because if you look at the graphs, more and more and more and more people are smoking pot. More and more and more people are smoking it regularly, heavily, spending more and more and more of their income on it. As they legalize it, more people are going to use it. Just like how alcohol was in the days of Prohibition, the more they were lax on the laws, the more people drank. Same applies today. If alcohol costs as much as water, half people would be dead from liver cancer, right? Because people are like goldfish. I mean, if it's there, we're going to eat it and consume it. So that's the state of affairs in California. That's the update with the legalization of pot. Right now, we're going through a really crazy time where a lot of smaller growers, just don't want to deal with this. They don't want to deal with all this legislation and having the government in their back pocket. And so they're just like selling off all their pot and getting out of the game, so to speak, never to return, or they're selling out to the corporations. Now, for those of you that smoke pot, you understand what this means. Like, corporations, like the antithesis of what pot smokers represent. Pot smokers represent organic lifestyle and Whole Foods and no government involvement. But yet they brought all this onto them with this legalization. It's just totally the opposite of what they believe. So it's just a weird time for people that smoke pot right now in California who are, let's say, not smoking it, but that grow it. Okay, it's a very weird time right now for these people. Yes, 50318 Trump is 70, not 69. I uploaded that last year to re-upload. Jeez. All right. So pot was legalized in my country, says Wolf Boy. What about that ticket in court? Good question, John. I called a couple days ago the courthouse and I said, hey, this is my ticket number. How much is this ticket going to cost me? They haven't received the ticket yet. We're a week out from the ticket. And I asked the court clerk, I said, is there a possibility this officer did not turn the ticket in? Hey, if that happened, you guys, that would be amazing, right? Now, Bill Swindle sent me $100, and God bless him, toward this ticket. He did not want to see me stop fishing. He wanted to make a statement, and I told him, thank you, God bless you. That's going to take a big chunk out of how much ever this ticket's going to cost. But if they don't turn this ticket in, I'm going to refund Bill's $100, because that'd just be amazing. But, I've never had that happen before. I've talked to a couple people that have had that happen where the ticket was not turned in. But in this case, we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that too. So I don't know how much the ticket's going to cost yet, you guys. Thanks, Sherry. What I may do is I may show up to court, and try to fight it. And not fight it, but I'm just going to say, look, Your Honor, I bought a fishing license. I've never been in trouble all the years I've been fishing for fishing out of season. I honestly did not know that the river was closed. My bad. Tried to look it up, and I failed. I didn't read the regulations well enough. And can you reduce the fine? And maybe that's what I'll do. And then I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. Clyde says, YouTube won't let me listen to Casey live. Buffers every single time. Sorry about that, Clyde. Yeah, this channel's under attack, it seems. We always have technical difficulties. It always seems that way, doesn't it? All right. What else do we have? Well, I'm just hanging out now. I don't have anything to do. Might as well hang out with you guys. Yeah, ignorance is no excuse for the law. Exactly, Calitron. And that's basically code for we own you. That's basically what that's code for. Because the law should not be like the be-all, end-all. If I really wanted to, I could go in there and bring a Bible and open up Genesis, how God gave Adam dominion over this planet. And I could talk about my right to forage for food. But I think if I go that route, they're just going to laugh me out of the court. Thanks, Lisa. All right. Yeah, there's all kinds of different kinds of pot smokers. There's people that smoke pot a couple times a week, maybe once a week. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The Bible says do everything in moderation. There's not much of a difference between smoking pot and drinking a couple beers, to be honest with you. The problem I see with some pot smokers is the building tolerance to the point where you go from a couple times a week to 4 days a week to once every day to twice a day to 3 times a day to when you wake up in the morning, you're taking a bong hit and you're bong ripping basically throughout the day. And you can't do anything in your life without taking a bong rip. And that to me is just, I just don't know what that's about. That's basically worshiping another God. I don't think God wants us dependent on anything to that degree. And it's no different than somebody sitting by the coffee maker with a pot of coffee, binge drinking coffee all day long, every single day of their life. That's not healthy either. And we all have our addictions, we just do. And I think the less is more. So I don't know, guys. It's a crazy world we live in. See, anytime something rules your life, it has control over you. And when someone else has the power to take that away, they now control you. Plain and simple. The same applies to sex addiction. Okay. Same applies to coffee. If you need coffee, there's something else wrong. If you're having to drink coffee all day, there's something else wrong. What else is wrong? Why can't you stay with it? You got to look at the underlying problem. You can't patch your problems with other things. Yeah, or if you're chain smoking all day, there's something else wrong. Okay, that's how you have to get to the root of the problem. That's when you have to open yourself up to the Holy Spirit, open yourself up to Jesus to help heal you of whatever maladies or addictions or problems that you have that are causing you to fall into these addictions. You see, I'm addicted to one thing, and that's truth. I can sit all day and look for the truth. I think that's probably a good addiction. But even that could probably be too much. Like if my personal relationship started to suffer, if I never went outside, never interacted with people, if I stood in the way of me loving people, that could be a problem, right? But sometimes you got to do a gut check and find out why or how you got to the point in your life where you need something. Because anytime you need something other than God and the Holy Spirit, that something that you need can be used against you to control you. You'll be locked in a cage. You'll never do anything with your life because you're always going to need to be that, close to whatever it is that you need, right? If they stop making coffee tomorrow, I'd probably suffer for a day or two. I'd be all right. I love coffee, but the day I can't get my cup of coffee in the morning, I'll survive. And that's kind of the litmus test. That's the litmus test, I guess you can call it. What is it in my life that I can't survive without? I'll give you an example. Well, after my first divorce, and I basically was only given 20% custody of my kids, going from seeing my kids every day and taking them into bed and loving them and never imagining spending days and days apart from my kids. And, it was an addiction. And that's kind of a poor example, but stay with me on this because this is important. And I thought, oh, I can't live anymore unless I have my kids. I'm going to fight for my kids. It became an obsession, right? I'm going to this, I'm going to that. One day I'm going to have my kids. One day I'm going to watch them, see my son grow up. And then finally I realized that became more important to me, and it was causing me negative energy, negative harm. It was causing me depression, anxiety. It was unhealthy. In other words, it was something I felt like I needed. And see, God can't work with you until you let everything go. Until you come to the point where you realize you don't need anything. Okay? You really don't. You don't need anything. There's nothing in this world that you need. And the shorter the list of things that you think you need, the better off you're going to be, because those things now cannot be used against you to control you. You see, it's all about surrendering. Exactly, Amanda. Surrendering. Even food. I mean, think about it, you guys. I mean, honestly, one of our worst fears is starving, right? We see these kids starving in Africa. Well, I mean, we live in America. You're never going to starve. There's always going to be a neighbor that's going to cook you food, or, you go to McDonald's, behind the McDonald's, there's a trash can full of hamburgers they threw out that stood on the shelf too long. You're never going to starve in America. Okay. So throw that out the window. You're never going to starve. Yeah. You're not going to be eating filet mignon. There's food everywhere. There's food falling from trees, and that's a myth. Okay. There's always food, right? That can't be used against you. And so that's what we're dealing with here. Things that can be used against you to control you. It's always going to be water, food, and even shelter. I mean, there's places to go for shelter. Yeah, I know it's a scary thought, not having not having a place to live, right? A place to live. But I got news for you. A place to live, a quote unquote place to live, is a little overrated. Being on a lease, owing a landlord money, to me, it's a little overrated. Owning a home is overrated. Paying property taxes, maintenance. Then you go 3 months without paying your mortgage, and all the money you put into your house is gone because the bank takes it. Okay. So, Sophia says there's not always food for everyone. Bible says, if God takes care of the lilies of the field and the birds in the air, and he feeds them, how much more will he feed his children? And I believe that. I've never been hungry. Americans eat too much food. We just do. We eat too much food. And if we're hungry, it's because we ate too much food the day before that we could have probably saved. And listen, I used to work at a McDonald's. We threw away hundreds of dollars worth of food every day when I was in high school. And I was the guy that was sent out to shoo the bums away. We got Realms in the house causing problems. Maybe I should add Realms as a moderator, and then he could block all of us. That wouldn't be right. He'd probably do that too. How about we put him on timeout? I don't want to block him right away. Realms, you're on timeout for calling me a shill. Let's see if he behaves after this. I always like to give people a chance. That's called an ad hominem attack. Call someone a shill for no reason at all, just because it sounds cool. So I'm going to challenge you guys today. Every time you eat a meal, I want you to take your hand, put it out in front of your face, and make a fist. If what's on your plate is bigger than the size of your fist, you're probably eating too much. And I want you to try that. And over the course of 6 months, if you can, at each meal, only eat the size of your fist, I guarantee you, if you've got a weight problem, you will start to lose weight. I don't care how active you are. Your fist is the size of your stomach, or the size of your stomach is supposed to be. Now, where I'm going, the surprise that I'm going to be announcing to you guys within the next couple of weeks, I plan on doing a lot of walking, exploring. where I'm going, there's deep history going back to the time of Christ. And I'm going to be investigating all of that. It's going to be a whole nother dimension to this channel. All right. We'll see if Realms came back. Let's talk to Realms. 333D says, I'm lose gain weight like an MMA fighter. Victoria can't get past 110 pounds. There's also foods that have negative calories. Cucumbers, celery. When you eat cucumbers and celery, it actually burns calories. Spinach does the same thing. Some cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower. So it's cool. Some little health tips for you guys. All right. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm probably going to get off here now. I'm actually watching Game of Thrones. Let's show you guys what's going on here. I'm on season 2. Gosh, I'm almost at the end of season 2. It's like watching Braveheart, an extended Braveheart movie. I have with this series is all of the sex and lust and just weird topics, okay? And if this is why this is the #1 show on television, then I reject that, it's just, I don't know. It's got a bad vibe to it. So I wouldn't recommend that series. I'm watching it to try to see if there's any clues in it. This is the Illuminati love hiding all their agenda and stuff inside of these series, these film series, especially if they're #1, if they're very popular. So I'm going to try to stay with it, but it's tough because, like I said, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this series. I'm into season 2. I think it's got like 5 or 6 seasons, or maybe even 7 seasons. Very long running show. And so we'll see what's going on with that, you guys. Amanda's been sick. Yeah, it's crazy. Mark Realm says, I make vids for free and spread the word of the Almighty Father. Can Interstar say the same? What do you do for a living, Mark? Let's see here. Much love, Green Man. Show for animals, mammals. Is anyone watching Game of Thrones? Has anyone watched the series? I'm just reading in the chat here. Johnny watched it. Yeah, it's crazy. It's some of the scenes are pornographic. It's unbelievable. You got to have the full armor of God on, not to fall into the sorcery of it. Is my point. Casey, I always tell people to not give money because we were on the same boat. Yeah, exactly, Victoria. All these channels are jumping on the Patreon bandwagon. Look, I'm not going to knock the Patreon thing. I get it. But there are channels much bigger than me, getting a lot more ad revenue than me, that are asking for Patreon, and I could easily do that, and I choose not to because I'm going to stand here and fight. But I'm interested to see who this guy works for. What does he do for a living? Yeah, it does, Johnny. Exactly. Sex sells. I think that's the reason why that show is #1. I mean, as far as I can tell, it seems to be the case. Times where I just wanted to stop watching because it got that bad. Yeah. Much love, IP from the Netherlands. Awesome. Okay, Gabe lost his job today because of who's following on YouTube. Wow. Prayers to Gabe for standing up for the truth. You're about to go down a different path, my friend. And believe me, you're going to wake up 10 years from now and be glad you went down that path. Because here's the thing, we all sell out a little bit each day. We just do. Because it's the matrix we live in. But every day you have a choice to make. And that's one less thing you'll sell out for. And that's all God wants is for you to every day think about what you do in your life. If you lost your job, it's for a reason. And there's other doors that are going to open for you. So I encourage you to hang in there. So I'm still waiting to hear back what Realms does for work because I'd like to know. I'd rather be on here with all of you guys doing this kind of work, working from sun up to sundown, exposing the enemy of this world, rather than working for the enemy and kissing somebody's butt just because they own something or they make all the money and I become their slave. Look, I know that many of us have to fulfill that role, but the people that are doing that aren't on here trying to criticize and mock me for the work that I do here. Okay, except for Realms. So he's barking up the wrong tree. Wrong tree. All right. Casey, did you finish decoding the Georgia Guidestones? We did a lot of work on the Guidestones, and it was weird. Like the alignments of the stones seemed to point to some false flags that were going on and some mass sacrifice. And we started to basically see that it was like a clock almost. Like every false flag was another digit around the clock that was aligning up with these stones. And then we kind of let it go at that. Yeah, a lot of people don't even know that the Georgia Guidestones exist. You'd be shocked at how much people are just not in the loop, but they're just not aware. You'd be shocked. Yeah, it's all in the numbers, IP. You're absolutely right. So we do on this channel. We look at these number synchronicities that the elite use. But also, there are some strange synchronicities about the day we're born and the day we die. And that can only be controlled by God. So there's something about this reality. Love you too, Jody. Rome says he survives. Okay. Look, man, I don't want to hate you, brother. The Bible says love even your enemies, brother or sister. I'm not sure what you are, but please don't come on here. And, I live off of $600 to $700 to $800 a month. Okay. I do this full time. This is a humble job. I have 6 recruiters in my inbox right now asking me to come back to work for a 6-figure job. I do this out of choice. I don't come here because I'm trying to make a bunch of money on YouTube. You guys don't understand. If you don't have a big channel or a medium-sized channel, you'll just never understand. You'll just never get it. You can mock us all day and think it's bad that we get a few pennies, a few dollars. Okay. I live with my freaking mom. Okay. I raised a family. I owned 2 homes. I had nice cars. I could easily go back to that life tomorrow, but I don't want that life. I'd rather be here doing this. This is my job. Okay. It's a humble job. You can try to do it if you want. Not many people can do it. You spend a lot of time. You don't get really, 3/4 of the people that come are trying to demean you, make you feel bad about yourself, telling you to get it like yourself, telling you to get a job, all these things. And then I have a small group of people that I get affirmation and support and love from. And that's the people that are right here in this chat right now because they understand what I'm doing. But most of the world doesn't understand me. And Jesus said that most people hate you. You're on this narrow road. He just said that would be the case. Okay. And most people hated Jesus, to be honest with you. So you're kind of falling into that club. And that's okay. I still love you. But that's what's going on. Okay. Jesus wasn't rich, but people helped him to eat food and a warm place to sleep. That's all I'm doing here on YouTube. That's it. And in case you haven't heard, nobody's making money on YouTube anymore. That's why everyone is starting Patreon accounts, which I haven't done. So there you go. We'll leave it at that. Love you too, saving humanity. I've got to go on your show soon. I've been talking about that. What else do we have here? Love you too, Teresa. Go drink some tea. Yeah, they're selling that tea. They wanted me to sell the tea. And I was like, I can't sell this tea. I'm not selling this tea. They sent me some tea and I drank it and I had stomach cramps for a week. I go, you're going to kill somebody with this tea, the cleansing tea. Look, I know some channels are pushing the tea. I get that. But I'm just like, you know what? There's a fine line between selling out and, you just can't. There's just no way. I can't give this to somebody that this is just not good. Oh, here's realms again. Who cares? Just lose your ego. I don't really have an ego. I don't know if you've noticed. The person with the ego seems to be you, but that's cool. We still love you. All right. Yeah, expensive tea that gives you stomach cramps, and yeah, I'm not doing tea. Now, I have had a couple of places that I've used since 2013 outside of YouTube for my own personal use, and they are awesome. One of them's grasslandbeef.com. Got a couple orders that have come in so far for you guys. You're going to love it. It's grass-fed, antibiotic-free, hormone-free beef. So if you're going to eat meat, this is the way to do it. Ships directly to your house. The link's in the description. I can stand behind something like that because I've actually ordered it, lots of it, and it's good. And if you believe in eating meat and you believe in the health benefits of it, then this is the way to go. And then, of course, VitaCost, I'm still working on my affiliate with them so that we can provide that for you guys too. But no, these are just things I use, and if you want to use them, it does help the channel. And you're getting something for it. You're not just giving me money, okay? I don't. There's something about that just doesn't sit well with me. For me personally, I'm not saying for everyone, but just for me personally, because we're all in the same boat, you guys. We're all fighting the beast. Okay, we're all fighting the beast. And all I'm telling you is the truth, and the truth should be free. There shouldn't be this obligation to, to support me. It shouldn't be that way. It's YouTube's the problem. They're the ones defunding this. Everything was fine before they started defunding and making the playing field not even. Okay, that's what they've done. They've made the playing field uneven is what they've done. Oh, Victoria asks if there's a place for veggies. Yeah, that's vitacost.com. I'm working on getting that affiliate as well. And it's all like kosher, veggie, vegan. It's amazing website. Ships directly to your house. Very, very low cost. In fact, if you're already shopping at Whole Foods, you'll be shocked because all the items on VitaCost you can find at Whole Foods at the same price or less. So now you're not putting gas in your car. Now you're not having to bag groceries. Now you're not having to be around a bunch of snotty people. And VitaCost, you get it at the same price or lower, shipped directly to your house. Shows up in the boxes all wrapped up, and you just unwrap it and put it in your cabinet. It's a lot easier than going to the supermarket. So Mark is just beside himself. If I had an ego, you would have been blocked a long time ago. Trust me, Mark. But you can hang out, do your thing, man. Hey, do you. What else do we have here? Got great mods in the chat here. Thanks, Liam, Paul. Appreciate you guys. Teaspoon apple cider makes a day lose weight. Oh, awesome. Yes, Patrick. I've heard about that. Apple cider vinegar. That's cool. Good health tip. All right. Let's see here. All right, guys. Well, I guess I'm gonna let you go. We've been chatting for a while. Glad you guys were able to trying to do these evening shows. I know more of you guys are available. It's weird though. Like when I do the morning shows, I get more of you guys that come out in the mornings than the evenings, which is kind of backwards because it seems like the evenings you guys more people be available, off work and everything. But when I do my morning shows, I get like 100, 150 you guys come out in the morning, so that's cool. And maybe because there's not as much stuff live on YouTube, because it's a thing where there's a lot of people live every night, so you gotta like choose, right? But I love each and every one of you. You guys, each one of you guys are special, and believe that, know it, own it. That's how Christ sees you, through his eyes. You're special. Each and every one of you has a purpose in your life. You just have to find what that is. You're all pieces to the puzzle of furthering the kingdom of God. You just are. And sometimes we have guilt and we have sins and we have things. I mean, even me, there's days I wake up and I'm like, God, I'm really sorry I did that. Like I feel like a douchebag. Like, what was I thinking? Or words come out of my mouth that I don't mean or that don't glorify God. And no matter how much you try to do for other people, you're going to feel like that sometimes. Okay. And it all starts with baby steps. You start small, and every decision and choice that you make, you try to glorify God. That's how you live your life. And as you do that, he'll meet you halfway. He'll start blessing you. So the next live show, hopefully, I'll be able to reveal the big secret about the next stages of my life, you guys. And I want you guys all to be part of it. Much love, you guys. Take care and be safe.